Hope it's not too late. All right, let's start over again. Hi, Purpose Bearing Women. This is Tarsha Campbell, and I'm so glad to be here tonight. I went on live and I was talking and didn't even know that I had not clicked the button to confirm that I wanted to go live. So I'm going to repeat what I just said. Some of you might have been wondering why we have not been able to have the introducing podcast in the last 2 months. And I was just explaining before I thought I was on live is that in October, I desired that this special guest that we're going to have tonight come on then. And when I invited her to come on during the time of the interview, she had a hurricane that was coming her way. And so we had to cancel it. And then last month when we rescheduled for, I think I'm getting it mixed up. It was September and then it was October. And last month, when I was it this month? When did we have that hurricane, the last hurricane this month, I believe. So in November, when we were scheduled to have it, whenever it was, the hurricane was coming my way. And so we couldn't have the interview as I had planned for it. But we are here tonight and I'm excited about our guest. I'm excited about sharing her story and having her tell exactly how she has been able to be a purpose-bearing woman in her city and in her community. And I do believe that you're going to be inspired by her and you're going to gain some insights on what it takes to really go after what you want and what you desire in life. And I know her to be that type of woman. And so as I just transition here, I want to introduce our special guest, and her name is Rosie Paulsen. And Rosie Paulsen is a native of Ecuador who came to the United States as a teenager. She's a public speaker and a business trailblazer. Rosie owns Rosie Paulsen Enterprises and S&R Services, a company that brokers Medicare coverage for people all over the state of Florida. She was named one of the top 50 most influential leaders in Florida. That is impressive. By the state of Florida Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. And then Rosie also is currently the secretary for the Florida Commission of the State of Women, and she serves on the Pasco Jobs and Economic Opportunity Council. She lives in Tampa Bay, the Tampa Bay area with her husband and adult children, and then she holds the titles and credentials of commissioner, also a speaker, an author, and a Medicare broker. And so tonight, we're going to welcome our very special guest here. We have her on screen. Say good evening to Miss Rosie Paulsen. Rosie, thank you for being a part of what we're doing here tonight and being our very special guest. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So we're so excited that we finally got a chance to do this interview. And as I mentioned, you were battling a hurricane. I was battling a hurricane. So we made it out on top. And so we have you here tonight. And as we jump into our interview, I always like to share with the audience, if I may, how we know each other. And so I want to take us back. We actually met as I was looking back in old pictures, and the picture that you have here, that I have here on the screen of us at a Christmas party, that was actually in 2018. So I believe we met earlier in that year, or we met in 2017. But I know I first saw you when you dropped in at a Business Women Inspirational Network meeting that we were having. Mm-hmm. And the leader of that organization, which is our friend Mary Pitts, she invited you to come up. And I tell you, when Rosie got that mic, she was so full of energy, so full of excitement. And I was like, I like her. I love the energy that you brought into that space on that day. And so we just connected and clicked real good together. And so you'll see here on the screen that we later partnered together to do some things with the Hispanic Professional Women's Association. We did a vision board workshop where Rosie sponsored that for that organization that she was a part of, and she invited me to come and speak on vision. We did vision boards, worked in our books, and just everything. It was a phenomenal day. So Rosie, I'm so excited about you being here. And you were definitely one of the women that I had on the list to invite to come on and share your story. So thank you so much for accepting my invitation and being a very special guest tonight. And so as we jump into our interview, I want to just start with this question. I just shared your bio and I mentioned in your history how you are an author, a speaker, and how you clearly display to all of us that you are a purpose-bearing woman. So I want to know exactly in your own words, can you tell me what makes you a purpose-bearing woman? Can you describe in one phrase the thing that people can identify you as being a purpose-bearing woman?
Well, I think, first of all, buenas noches. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much, Tarsha, for inviting me. I've been looking forward to this interview myself, too. And, it's funny that two things happen, first in my town and then in your town. But it is what it is, right? I was blessed and we both were blessed and nothing happened. So, we still have all of the people that were affected by this hurricanes in our prayers, because they still have a long way to recover.
That's true.
But I believe my biggest thing is to understand that I was given a purpose, and the purpose was to make other days a special one. I always believe that my smile is my signature for my business, my energy. I represent a bigger portion of bigger than me, right? When you realize that God created you for a purpose that only you can fulfill, and you can hold on to that promise and just let yourself be guided by that, you're going to go places and you're going to have energy, and people are going to just gravitate to you because you're your authentic self. You are able to just be who you are, and the moment you understand that that is your power, that is your worth, no matter what happens out there, you're unstoppable, right? Because who the Bible says, who can be against us, because we serve the Lord and nobody can be against the Lord, right? So who's going to be against us? And I think if we just hang on to those promises, we can do everything and anything that we set our minds to, because of God. He is our power.
Oh, that's excellent. I love that. Love that. I truly believe that as well. Being authentic and who God has made you to be, and understanding who you are in Him is so important, that allows you to be able to step into any space that you're invited into and just bring the light, bring the understanding of who God is into the room. And you don't even always have to have your Bible with you, or be in saying praise the Lord, or some type of other Christian lingo that we're so used to saying, but just being who He's called you to be and allowing your light to shine. And so, Rosie, I read in your bio that you are a speaker and also an author. Can you tell us a little bit about the message that the Lord has given you? I believe that each and every one of us, we have been given a signature message, a signature sound. And so what is it that you think is your signature message and sound?
Well, and that comes out. So I've been married to my husband, Scott, I believe it's 16 and a half years now. So my husband, I knew my husband was going to be a pastor. When I met my husband, Scott, he was not, but eventually God did make my husband and ordain my husband. And so one of the things that I realized is that he loves children's ministry. I was more
Mm-hmm.
of a missionary that I used to go to other countries and bring the gospel. In the countries I visited, people spoke Spanish, so I was able to do some of the translating.
Mm-hmm.
But I realized that that was not the call for my husband. And I was having a very hard time because I looked forward, like I did my whole fundraising for my missionary trip, and I would take
Mm-hmm.
my kids with it. And it was a whole year preparation to do that. And then I married my husband, and he does not have the same calling, right? So I'm
Mm-hmm.
having this intimate moment with the Lord where I was so upset and saying to him, Lord, but where is my mission? But wait, you call me to be a missionary. What happens? And he said to me, well, your mission field is not always international. Your mission
Mm-hmm.
field is in your own backyard. And
Oh,
I
that's
said, Lord,
good.
what does that mean? And he
Mm-hmm.
said, the marketplace. Rosie, you were called to be a successful entrepreneur and to teach others how to do the same.
Mm-hmm.
That is your mission field. So when you mention that I don't have to be carrying my Bible around. I sometimes don't even tell people that I'm a Christian. But when they
Mm-hmm.
introduce me, well, Rosie's a Christian, and I keep thinking like, how do these people know that I'm a Christian?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Christianity don't always come with talk the talk. It's about walking the walk. And I do
Yes.
believe that because I honor God in everything that I do, I try to walk the walk instead of talking the talk. So I talk a lot about integrity. Integrity is something that is a pet peeve for me. If
Mm-hmm.
I
Me too.
say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. You know,
Yes. I
and that's
agree.
why I'm very careful and cautious now about what do I say to yes to. I
Mm-hmm.
actually say a lot no to a lot of stuff
Mm-hmm.
because of time management, because that was one of those things that I have to grow up and find out that I had some time management problems because of my upbringing, because of what I came and what my history was. But
Mm-hmm.
because of my history, I couldn't expect people to understand that, because then I was telling them they're not important.
Oh,
And
wow.
I kept saying, okay, if I'm representing God and I
Mm-hmm.
lack integrity, then how is it that other people are going to get to know God through me?
Oh, that's
They probably
important.
going to have a distortionate idea of God because perhaps I'm the only Christian person that they ever had in their
Mm-hmm.
life. So when
That's
I
true.
realized that I'm a representation of a bigger power of my God, that's who I serve.
Mm-hmm.
I need to have full integrity. And
Mm-hmm.
in the professional world, we also held to an even higher standard because we
That's
are
true.
professional Christian women.
Mm-hmm.
One of
That's
my
true.
biggest thing is I had women and business owners that use God as they put God, they take God into this box and they take it
Mm-hmm.
out when they need business or when they want
Yes.
something, and then
I've seen that too.
they put God back in a box.
Mm-hmm.
God is not to be able to be put in a box. So it's really sad because I think that's the hardest thing, because they hurt non-believers or people that they're searching for
Mm-hmm.
that understanding of who God is, but they get through these people first, and
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately they create this idea that God is the same thing, but
Yeah.
it's
But
not.
let me
That's
let
not
me
the
stop you right there because I know you have written a book and I have it here on the screen. Let's see.
yeah,
When you were talking about integrity, it made me think about your book because
yeah,
I know in your book you talk about certain principles that business women and also anyone that would read your book should have. Can you tell us a little bit about your book? Even give us the title here, so because some of us may not know how to pronounce the
yeah.
title, and tell us a little bit about what you say in that book.
Yeah, so ñeque, if you read that, the hyphenated ñeque, which is a
Okay, okay.
Quichua word. Quichua is a dialect that the Otavalos, which is a tribe that lives in my country, speaks. In that
Mm-hmm.
tribe, the women are the most entrepreneurial ones. And
Oh, I see.
the subtitle is the mindset to get what you want.
Mm-hmm.
So I talk about the four components of ñeque, which they
Mm-hmm.
are persistent. No, I'm sorry, purpose, persistent, persevere, and pivot. So
Oh,
to
I like
achieve a
that.
thriving, successful, and profitable business. Because we all, the majority of people that follow me, or my followers, or people that I influence, they are business owners. They even thinking about having a business. They might already have had a business. They might be in the middle of growing a business. But these four components applies to each aspect of that business. And it also applies to your life. Because, as women, we have so many titles. So we
That's
are
true.
mothers, we are caregivers, we are wives,
Yes.
some of us are grandmothers, some of us are community leaders, some of us are mentors. There are so many things that we are pulled to do. And in this book, you will find actionable tips that you can use immediately
That's great.
to become a successful business owner. But more than anything, to write your happy success story. Because the moment you find out who you are, what is your purpose, what are you called to be in this life, then your life is just, it's so full of happiness and so full of successes, right?
Right.
And not only that, but your life is not going to end tomorrow. When I tell people, this whole growing your business is not going to end tomorrow. If I tell people, the moment that we end our race is the moment that we'll be at the feet of Jesus worshiping for eternity.
That's right.
So
That's right.
if you really think about that, the most important, they say, people, right, in a tombstone, you see the beginning when you were born, and then when you passed away. But it's the little dash in between that matters. And that's where we are. We are in that little dash, because whatever we are equipped to do here, what is going to prepare us to praise the Lord for eternity.
That's right.
In this temporary life, right?
Yeah. And while I have you talking about what we're doing in life, I have on the screen here where you have done some community service work. And so can you tell us a little bit about the positive ways you have impacted your community, the greater Tampa Bay area and beyond?
Well, so first of all, this is an answer to my prayers. So when I just became a Christian, you do that first prayer that you always do when you're a baby Christian and you have all your heart and you're so in love with the Lord. And I told God, okay, Lord, this is what I'll make me the godly woman you want me to be. Lord, please, I want to help people. I want to speak Spanish, because at that time I wasn't speaking Spanish. I want to be able to share my story about you. And Lord, whatever you do, don't make me a salesperson. So I'll be fine. So technically, He actually gave me all my prayers, because the way, so I help people with their Medicare options. Okay, that is, I'm a broker, so I represent most of the plans out there. And when people are turning 65, I come in and we can select what plan works best for your needs. But I have to be in front of people all the time. Because of my leadership and because of my energy, and because, like you say, I own the room. When I walk into a room, people gravitate to me. And I realize that I'm very influential when it comes to helping people out. Now, in my business, you could, you help people with food banks, or you can collect things. But the nonprofit locally do have a dug into my heart, because when they are not small nonprofits, and I'm not putting down the big nonprofits, but when the small nonprofits, you help out, things stay locally. Like, for example, one of the things that I'm going to do, and I know this is probably going to go in history, but in December, on my birthday, I call it the birthday bash. I do the 19th of December is my birthday. And I always do something to collect things for people. So this year, for example, I did it a couple of years ago before the pandemic, but I'm going to be collecting little socks, underwear for the little girls, and skivvy for the boys. Because a lot of these foster kids don't have clean underwear to wear. Okay, so
Wow.
I get that, and instead of people giving me presents, which is I
Mm-hmm.
get so
That's
excited,
excellent.
then
I
they
love
all
it.
bring something to give to the nonprofit organization that I support.
Mm-hmm.
So the picture that you actually show in that slide was actually within 48 hours. I
Mm-hmm.
think 48. Well, let's make it a little bit more. So within 72 hours, after the hurricane hit Fort Myers in South Florida, I
Mm-hmm.
asked my followers, "Will you please bring donations?" Because I had my boss at that time said, "Hey, just do a collection." Of course, she didn't know the power of Rosie, and she had
Mm-hmm.
told me she was going
I
to bring
like
a
that.
truck
Power
to
Rosie.
to get to the stuff to Florida. So she stopped
Mm-hmm.
by Jacksonville because she lived in Jacksonville,
Mm-hmm.
took the stuff to Florida, and turned the truck in, thinking Rosie's not going to have too much things to collect.
Oh, wow.
So we collected 26 cases of waters and
Awesome.
35 boxes of
Mm-hmm.
supplies. So here's my boss with two of our little friends, and they all have little tiny cars. So there were three
Oh,
cars,
wow.
and they were
Isn't that
shoving
something?
everything on the cars because they were not going down to Florida. But that went to Fort Myers, uh,
Mm-hmm.
into a local shelter that when they arrived, the shelter was empty. So
Uh-huh.
everything that they brought in, it just filled out the shelter again, and that
That's
was put in
awesome.
with about 72 hours. So I'm very
Wonderful.
proud that all my followers have a great heart to donate. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so the other part, and this is where you see some of the Tampa Bay. I think is because um, I always want to make an impact, right? I
Right.
think
And you are.
people
Oh,
don't think about the exit strategy, right? So we
uh-huh.
own a business, we love what we do, but are we going to be able to work forever?
That's
Well,
true.
no. At one point, my knees are not working the same. I
Mm-hmm.
feel
That's,
the
that's
and
so
my
true.
heels. I love my heels, but I can't wear them anymore. So what's my exit strategy? And when
Mm-hmm.
I exit, what is my legacy? What
Mm-hmm.
do I
That's
want
true.
people to remember about me? So I call it this as a little macabre, but I wish when I passed away in my coffin, I have my smile. I love my
I'm sure
smile.
you
I
will.
love
You
my
will.
smile.
You have a beautiful smile.
And I want
Yeah.
people to celebrate that because I do believe my husband always said, Rosie, you walk in and you can talk to rocks and rocks can talk back to you. Why?
That's true. That's that smile again here on the
Yeah.
screen.
I tell you because that might be the only smile people see in their
That's
lifetimes.
true, Rosie.
Hey,
That's true.
I don't know. So if I get wrinkles because of that smile, if
Mm-hmm.
this is my signature for my business, I'm gonna smile as much as I can.
Mm-hmm.
So that is that's what I love to do. But making a difference, what is my legacy? So, and a lot of people are gonna tell you, if you see a big smile, that's Rosie. So like
Mm-hmm.
if they describing me to somebody else that have never met me, if they
Mm-hmm.
say, if you're gonna see her, she's gonna have a big smile and she's gonna be smiling at you and saying hello to you. That's Rosie.
Yeah, that's what I know you for too, is your big smile. I also know you to be someone that's greatly involved in your community. I've seen you do a lot of things on social media. I love the branding that you have for yourself, where you always start out your post is "Where is Rosie?" I said that is brilliant. And so when you say Rosie, where is Rosie? I know I need to scroll down just a little bit and see where you have been and what you have been doing to impact your community. And Rosie, you mentioned your smile. You mentioned like when you walk into a room, you pretty much can just light up a space. But has there ever been a time where you went through something tough in your life and you probably had to lean on something that was on the inside of you? Can you share with the women tonight that are tuning in and those that are going to watch it by replay?
Uh-huh.
How have you been able to overcome tough times in your life?
Well, first of all, remember, I also want to tell you that what you see now, it's
Mm-hmm.
actually God's transformation, right? When I
Oh, okay.
surrender my life to the Lord, I said, Lord, make me the godly woman you want me to be. And you know, the Bible says that God can forgive everything that we've done and make us as white as snow, right? No matter what our past was, as long as we ask for forgiveness, and we understand that our sin is dead, right? Our payment to the sin is dead, but that Jesus Christ took our sin, and we believe in him, and he's what's gonna get us to heaven. When I realized that, ladies, I started doing a lot of self-learning courses, right? So self-improvement, right? One of the things I learned is what were my skills, because when I was a child, my parents, because they both were teachers, they were trying to make me do something or be somebody that it was important to them, but that was not who my skill was. So because I always tried to please them, I was always a mediocre person at whatever I was not good at. Once I realized what I was good at, I honed those skills and became really, really, really good. And then delegated what I was not as good at. So I tell you, one of my biggest thing that happened, and it had to do with my business, because I had this block of policies that was bringing about $40,000 a year. But I used to kind of worship those policies. So believe it or not, those were my idols, my idol. And I would think about every single day how I was going to lose those policies and how I was going to be able to, in my strength, use those policies. Well, in the state of Florida, when you have a license, somebody can have a complaint and put a complaint to you, and your license gets investigated, which is what I do in the insurance business, right?
Right.
So sometimes you have a chance to say your piece, and in my case, I didn't have a chance to say my piece. So technically, that company terminated my contract for cause. And by being for cause, that means I'm not able to access none of that money or none of those residuals. First of all, it was not only the $40,000 a year. Now my license is being investigated, so my whole livelihood can be affected by this one thing that somebody said I did. For the 6 months, Tarsha, I was in my room. I was crying. I did not want to talk to anybody. I was so sad because I felt so betrayed by this. And this is a client that was 7 years. It was my client for 7 years, the one that put this complaint, which it was unfounded in what he said and all that, but I couldn't say my piece. That was the thing. They just took his word for it and then terminated my contract.
My goodness.
So at this point, I felt betrayed. I felt injustice. I felt my livelihood was gonna be going on, but I hang on to God. And I say, you know what, this Bali, I'm going to walk in and I'm going to walk it with the Lord. And I'm just going to spend this time crying and upset or whatever. Because, you know, God, again, can take our wrath and our anger and our rawness because he loves us so much. But I remember every single day, I say, Lord, whatever it is that you want me to do, just if I have to start again, just give me strength. But whatever it is, Lord, I just please get me out of this valley because, you know, I'm as much as I love being here with you, which I became so much connected with God at that valley. It's like, okay, I love you and I love you very much, but please, how much longer? So it literally took 6 months from when I got terminated to the state of Florida sending me a governance letter stating that they are going to notate my account and put it in the back. But since they never seen anything out of the ordinary, they just, in other words, governor, don't do it again. You know?
I see.
So I've never had another issue again. So they did not terminate my other contracts. And now every time I get a new contract, I always have to tell them, you know, so and so in that day, that year, what happened. But even today, there's people that have seen that case and they actually taking it over to be reviewed, because since I never had a problem before, I couldn't get some coaches. So there were a lot of coaching sessions that I could have done instead of just a total termination with no cost, for cost. But I tell you, the one thing I remember, yes, I lost $40,000, but you know what I gained?
What's
Understanding that those idols can come in many different options and many different disguises, right?
Yeah,
And
right,
God says, see, you survive, right? This was your idol. This is the one that you said you're never going to be able to survive. I took it away from you, and you're still surviving, and you still well. And I have recovered most of those policies anyway in different companies. So again, God just, he made me realize that there was that insidious part of sin where I was worshiping that more than I was worshiping God.
And that's excellent. Not what you went through is excellent, but you being able to see what was actually going on in your own personal life, how it had become an idol to you. And I think that's so important whenever we go through anything that may be a tough time, is that we have a self-examination of us first, and then we turn it outward and see if there's anything that we have done. And so I appreciate you sharing that transparent moment with us so that we can walk away even from this interview, possibly checking our own hearts. What do we have in our lives that may be an idol to us? Because, sometimes as purpose-bearing women, we can reach a certain level of success in our business or in our ministry or even in our life or even our nonprofit organization where we forget God. And one of my prayers is on a daily basis is, Lord, create in me a clean heart, renew a right spirit within me, because I don't want to get so far out into this whole realm of success that I completely forget how I got there. Right. And who made it possible for me to be there. So I appreciate you sharing that story. And as we get ready to wrap up the interview, I wanna know if you would speak to that woman that may be shy, that woman that may be timid. Because as I started the interview out, I mentioned how when you walk into a room, you just light up the whole room. It's your spirit that you bring. It's the love that you have. It's the joy that you have. But what can you say to a woman who knows she's talented, she knows she's gifted, but she's a little intimidated by certain situations, or she's a little shy? What could you share with that woman to help her to overcome being like that?
Well, first of all, if they do the DISC personality, the DISC personality, that will change your life forever. Because I'm going to tell you, shy ladies, and I call them my CS personalities, okay? I will not be able to be where I am without those CS personalities. Why? Because they're the compliance people, they're the administrative people, and Rosie can be all over the place, but those people keep me organized. Those people get me. So I'm a visionary. I can see where I'm going and how to get there. But this S and C, the shy people, actually has to see where we're going. I have to sell the vision, right? And then they work backwards to get us there. Because they're going to say, Rosie, if you want to get over there, if you want to cross, I always say this, if you want to cross the river, like my husband is the CS personality. If we get into a river and I want to cross the river, I'm just pulling everybody, come on, let's cross the river, let's cross the river.
What is he doing?
Back, and he goes, how deep is the river? How strong is the current? Is there a bridge somewhere? And no, I'm already in the middle of the river, drowning because I got to cross the river. But then he takes the little path on the bridge that he found, and he usually gets me out of the river.
That's good.
So that is the shy personality. A lot of these ladies, please understand, that is your purpose. The moment you understand Yes, I might not be the one that is speaking in person, because you know the number one fear for people is public speaking, right?
That's true.
And
That's true.
there's a joke when they say that in a funeral, yeah, I'd rather be the person in the
Mhm.
coffin than the one
Yeah.
giving the eulogy, right?
Right. Right. I heard that before.
Right. But again, your gift is in another way. And
Hmm.
as a leader, or for me as a person that has a path where I use volunteers, my
Hmm.
God-given talent is also finding where these people fit
Oh,
perfectly,
that's excellent.
so they
Great.
can do their purpose and they
Hmm.
can expand and be the best that they can be, so their time and treasure and talents are used correctly for an impact and for a legacy.
Yeah, I like this. And it made me want to bring up here what you wrote, a post that you made on social media. Give yourself some credit for how far you have come. That's excellent. There's that smile again, that Rosie smile. So, Rosie, thank you for explaining that and making it, breaking it down so it's plain. We have to understand that there are different personality types. And so you may not be that person that goes and just lights a room up, but you may be that person that first, before the room got filled, organized that room or planned the meeting. And so we all have our particular place where we fit. And so I always tell people when I'm coaching with them is that you got to really tap into understanding where you should be in life and what it is that you should be doing. So I appreciate you sharing that. So as we wrap up the interview here, Rosie, I have a few more pictures of you on the screen. I want you to tell us what's next for Rosie for
Well,
2022 and beyond.
well, it's no secret, but I always tell that I got involved in politics, right? And when I
Right.
say politics, I mean government, right?
Mm-hmm.
Eh, in 2010, when I was doing my business, a lot of these elected officials would come into my office, and
Mm-hmm.
I was having some concerns, and they say, "Well, I can help you with that." And I realized that owning a business, the government aspect of it is very important,
Mm-hmm.
because what you do in your business, people in Tallahassee or DC, they are um, passing laws that
Mm-hmm.
affect your business directly and indirectly.
That's
So
true.
if you as a business owner have to have a CPA that does your books, and you have to have a lawyer that establishes your corporation, how
Mm-hmm.
come people tend to the most important aspect of your business, which is where affects directly or indirectly, you're not involved? And
Mm-hmm.
that's when
Mm-hmm.
I started getting my feet wet into the politics aspect of it. And what's next for me? I would like to run for office. And I have already
Wow.
manifested this, that I would love at one point to run for Congress
Oh,
because of my
good. Good.
Medicare background. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Congress is part of that aspect. I start some local stuff, but I do believe that God, hey, it's no secret. I've been to the White House 3 times.
Oh,
And I
excellent.
love every time I go there, I feel that
Mm-hmm.
I belong. The first time I walked
I
into
love it.
Tallahassee, I remember my heart racing. I didn't even understand what was happening, but I'm going up this hill to Tallahassee. So I might
Mm-hmm.
serve in the Senate in Tallahassee first, and then move my way up to Congress. So, but
Oh,
yeah,
I
that's
love
one of those parts
that.
I've done. I've done owning a business. I have been very successful at a few companies. So I think that will be the next thing. They talk about politics being sales in steroid. So if I want to have
Mm-hmm.
a master degree in sales, then I need to run for office. And people, I encourage people. Sometimes you run for PTA, run
Yeah.
for your local HOA. That's part
Mm-hmm.
of being an American, believe it or
That's
not.
true.
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But when you can
Yes.
make an impact using all that government that makes this amazing country that what it is, why
Mm-hmm.
not, right? The
Yeah,
only
why not?
limitation is you.
Yeah, I read in your bio it said you're a commissioner. Are you where are you a commissioner in your county
Okay.
now or?
Yeah, no, actually, I'm at the state level and I'm the
Oh, okay.
secretary. So the Commission
Mm-hmm.
on the Status of Women, which is FCSW,
Mm-hmm.
is a non-partisan entity that we are in-house by the Attorney General, where
Uh-huh.
we celebrate, encourage, and empower women
Oh, that's
all
excellent.
across from Florida. And
Mm-hmm.
women also are influential, like I said, to their husbands, to their families. So what we do is we have a hub in our FCSW website where you can find any type of research, any type of
Mm-hmm.
numbers, any type of data that you want to find about women.
Mm-hmm.
Just visit our website, fcsw.net.
Oh, that's good.
F like Frank, C as Charlie, S
Mm-hmm.
like Sam, and W. So it's the Florida Commission on the Status of Women. But one
Okay,
of the
good.
coolest thing we do is we
Mm-hmm.
actually get all the nominations for the Women Hall of Fame. So when
Mm-hmm.
you walk into the Tallahassee Capitol, if you
Yes.
go to the right hand side, there's like a wall, and it's the
Mm-hmm.
Women Hall of Fame. So we get all those applications, and
Mm-hmm.
then there is a committee that selects 20. From the
Mm-hmm.
20, it goes to the full commission. The commission selects 10, and that is sent to the governor. And the governor selects 3 ladies every year. So
Oh,
that
that's
is
great.
amazing things that the commission does. So there's a lot of more, but this is going to be my 4th year, I believe, in the commission, and I can get
Oh.
appointed again because this is not an elected official. I mean, an elected
Mm-hmm.
position. You actually can earn votes or you can get appointed. And I was
Oh.
appointed by the Senate president at that time, Bill Galvano.
Mm-hmm.
And now, once this is over, I will have to either get reappointed, and I can get appointed one more time and serve for a total of 8 years. But yes,
Oh,
if
that's
ladies,
excellent. I
that
love that.
yeah, that
Yeah,
organization is amazing.
congratulations.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
congratulations on all of that. That's excellent to hear.
Yeah.
I believe you will make a wonderful senator or representative for this state as well as for wherever you may go, starting at the Tallahassee level on up to the national level. So I wish you much success. And before we go, can you let the women know how they can connect with you, get your book? Also, you have a course as well, don't you,
Yes.
that coincide with your book?
Yes.
Tell us
So
a little bit how they can just connect with you on social media and as well as your website.
yes. So technically, www. Let me do that again. www.rosiepaulsen.com.
Mm-hmm.
RosiePaulsen. www.rosiepaulsen.com. All
Mm-hmm.
my social media platforms are under Rosie Paulsen. And then my phone number, anybody can have it. Text me 813-909-6965.
Mm-hmm.
813-909-6965.
All right, wonderful. And also, what about your podcast? I know you had a
Oh,
podcast.
wait, and let me just tell me about the academy. So yes,
Yes,
from
Academy.
the book, I do have a 12 uh, chapter course that is
Mm-hmm.
online. It's in yourself. You do it at your own pace.
Self-paced.
It has
Mm-hmm.
a workbook that comes with it, and we talk
Mm-hmm.
about the four um,
Peace.
components of Nyeke, the grid, will find that for you.
Mm-hmm.
And then also the podcast. So because I'm so influential and I have met so many special people in my life, my podcast is called Cafecito with Rosie on Air. I did
Mm-hmm.
have a TV show in Telemundo for about a month too, where I interview.
Oh,
This
wow.
whole show is about interviewing business owners, business
Mm-hmm.
people, and community leaders, who they are, what they do, and how they help the community. But you get
Yeah.
a lot of inspirational stories from
Mm-hmm.
they were not always successful from the beginning, so
I
it just
understand.
helps you inspire, and it goes with my pure positive and inspiring ideas, which is my personal motto.
Oh, wonderful. Rosie, let me tell you something. I
Yes.
was already proud of you by just following you on social media, but you have made me even prouder of you just hearing more about your personal story, how you have overcome, and the wonderful things that you are doing and what you aspire to do for our state and for our nation. So thank you for being you. Thank you for coming on and being a guest. Thank you for sharing everything about how you have been successful in your life and gotten to where you are today. So I appreciate you. I wish you much success to you and Scott. I thank God for the opportunity that I met you so many years ago and we're still connected today. So thanks for being a guest on the Introducing podcast tonight. And I wish you all the best in your endeavors. And if you don't follow Rosie on social media, I want to encourage you to do so. Just look her up, Rosie Paulsen on are you on Instagram and
Yes.
Facebook?
Mm-hmm.
All
Yes.
all the
Yes.
platforms?
Yeah, all the platforms. I have TikTok, but I haven't gotten into that one yet. I want to do it. I want to do it. I think
Yeah, I
I
think you
have
could
it,
do a
but
good job
I
on
just still
TikTok.
have to kind of but yeah, all my social medias are there.
All right, wonderful. Well, you have a good night, and I'll continue to follow you and just be in the background cheering you on as you continue to have great success. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Tarsha, and I can't wait until you get the oh my God, the book that you always the journal.
The Vision Board
The
Journal?
vision board
Oh,
journal. I'll be
oh,
one of those because my husband Scott gets it for Christmas and for my
yeah.
birthday. So
Well,
we'll be.
it is available now.
Oh,
I'm
it
glad
is.
you mean. Yeah, it's available now. You can get it from me. Go on my website, or you can reach out to me. I'll reach out to you, and I'll tell you how to
Yes,
get it.
because last year Scott got it for me for Christmas, and I think I sent him the stuff, but I thought, he's gonna forget it, and
Uh-huh.
then I actually follow it through September, and then I just like fell off the stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna continue to, so I'm gonna do it again this year.
Oh, good, good. You'll continue to have success if you use that book. All right, Rosie, thank you so much. I appreciate you, and you have a good night.
You too, Tarsha. Good night, everybody. Buenas noches.
Buenas noches. Love you.
Love you too. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.